Hey everybody, I'm Brian.
And I'm Ethan, and welcome to a new episode of Moxham Trails.
This episode's going to be a little different. Clearly, we're not at the property in the Adirondacks. We're back at home. And it's the middle of winter, so the driveway's probably blocked in by a 3-foot snowbank. So we're here, and we decided to do something a little bit different this time.
We're going to be answering some of our most frequently asked questions.
We decided to take a moment and just try to answer some of those questions for the people who asked them and for anyone else who might be interested. Let's start with the most common question. What is Moxham Trails? This is a question that usually comes up when I'm wearing something with the logo on it, or when I'm talking to one person about the channel and somebody else happens to be listening in. Moxham Trails is a video journal about how Ethan and I are turning a piece of property in the Adirondacks into our own outdoor playground. The important word here is journal. We're trying to tell a story of our project so that other people can watch and be entertained.
And show everybody how much fun we're having.
That's right. Okay, next question. Where did you get the name Moxham Trails? I'm going to let Ethan take this one.
We named the channel Moxham Trails because we have a great view of Moxham Point. It's a bald-faced mountain that we can see from a few places on the property, but my all-time favorite is the fire pit.
There's actually a hiking trail that goes to the top of Moxham Point, but we haven't had a chance to do it yet.
We'll probably do it next season and make a whole episode out of it.
Okay, the next one is less of a question and more of a topic, and that's about budget. I get a lot of people who ask me, why don't you buy a shed, or why didn't you rent a skid steer when you put in the driveway? And these are great suggestions, but I just don't have enough money to do it. The only reason I was able to buy the property at all is because I paid off my car and I rolled those car payments into loan payments for the property. Once those loan payments are made, I really only have about $100 a month extra to actually put towards the projects on the property. That includes the gas to get up there, any new tools we might need, and all the materials. For example, the outhouse cost about $500, so it took 5 months for me to save up the money to build that. Most of the things we buy are pretty small, like cast iron skillet to cook over the fire, or a new rake or something like that. That's also why we do a lot of upcycling and reusing things that would otherwise have been thrown away. If you look at the shelter we just got done putting up, the frame itself was given to me by my mom. The panelings were all scraps. Even the cinder blocks we used as the foundation were given to us. The only thing I had to buy were the 4x4 skids and the plywood for the floor. So yeah, a $3,000 shed to store things in or sleep in would be fantastic, but now we're talking about over 2.5 years of budget. Maybe when the property's paid off, we can buy some big ticket items like that. But for now, we're just doing little projects at a time. Now on to a lighter topic. A lot of people ask both of us, what is Ethan's favorite thing to do at the property? So I'm going to let him answer this.
I don't have a favorite thing to do at the property because there's so many fun things we can do. Slingshotting, axe throwing, mountain bike trails, and I even like building stuff too. But if I had to choose one thing to be my favorite, I'd choose axe throwing. I love watching the axe spin through the air and then stick right on the target.
Okay, the next question is, how do you choose the songs in each episode? When Ethan and I are up there just by ourselves working on a project, I usually pick a song that I've either been listening to a lot lately, or maybe even a song from a band that I recently saw in concert. Or sometimes I pick a song that has lyrics that somehow are related to the project at hand. If there's a song that says something about cutting or lifting or working. But other times when we're with our friends, I usually let them pick the song. For example, when we did the remote control car episode, we let Theo pick the song and he picked the techno song that we ended up using. When Josh and I put up the shelter in the last episode, he told me about the Yonder Mountain String Band. And although he might not want to admit it, the Dolly Parton song I played when Joe was there with me was actually his choice. Here's an easy question. How much land do you own and how did you find it? Moxham Trails is 17.7 acres, just under 18 acres. And we found it using a real estate agent. I really didn't have a lot of stipulations. I wanted it to be more than 10 acres, it had to be less than $40,000, and I wanted to be close to a ski resort. With Gore Mountain right there in North Creek, it seemed like a logical place to start looking. I talked to Allison about it, and she said she really wanted a view of something, and I can't blame her. Eventually, we're probably going to build a cabin or something, and when you wake up in the morning and you pour yourself a cup of coffee and walk out onto the porch, you don't want to just be looking out into the woods. We'd love to be looking out at a view of some sort. Waterfront property was out of the question, simply for budget reasons, so Annie found the next best thing. She suggested that this one listing might actually have a view of Moxham Point. So first we checked it out in the winter, and sure enough, there was a great view with no leaves on the trees. We looked at it again in the spring, and although most of the view was covered with leaves, I knew that we'd only have to take out a few trees to get the view that we have now. The next question is, what can we look forward to next season? And that is a dangerous question for me because I've tried really hard not to predict the future. There are times when I have a plan to do one thing and we just get distracted and do something completely different. But I'm sure there's tons of things Ethan would like to do next season, so I'll let him answer this question.
We're definitely going to do some of the things we did last season, like mountain biking and axe throwing. But we also have some new stuff to try, like a drone and archery. We're definitely going to shoot another RC car episode and possibly some paintball.
We also only used the slackline once, so we gotta do that again.
Definitely. Okay, here's our last question. Are we hoping that our channel goes viral?
Honestly, I don't really think about it too much. I'm grateful for every subscriber we have and every view that our episodes get, but we don't have a sponsor and we're not making any money. We're just doing this to tell our story and preserve these experiences through video.
And have some fun on the way.
Now, having said that, we do get a lot of donations and gifts from friends and family. I get a lot of Home Depot cards as birthday presents and Christmas presents, which go a long way. And then a lot of people have given us hand-me-downs like garden tools that they're not using anymore. And then other people actually go out and buy us very nice things. For example, our friend Sergeant Cheryl bought us that battery pack, and although you don't see it very often, I'm using that thing every time we go up there. And while we're on the topic, I also want to extend a special thank you to our friends Deborah and Richard. They were our neighbors for the last 15 years, and unfortunately they just moved away. But in the process of cleaning out their house, they found and gave us a lot of stuff that can be put to use at Moxham Trails. Water jugs, a ladder, some yard tools, tons of things. And that was the last question, so I think that just about wraps things up for now. It's still the middle of winter, but we are looking forward to getting back up there and starting season 4. Until then,
Bye! See you in the next episode of Moxham Trails.